Clay Aiken is not the greatest singer in the world. So why is the former American Idol finalist so popular?
Clay Aiken is a classic geek-turned-chic phenomenon.
There's still some doubt about whether or not Clay is a legitimate artist. If you talk to music critics and people who study music, they probably say he's the Dr. Phil of the music industry.
He's a goofy, nerdy geek that's smart and clever. That's what he is.
He's hated by a lot of people, but the people who love him really love him a lot.
Clay first became famous in 2003 when he finished a close second to Ruben Studdard on the second season of American Idol. But 24-year-old Aiken turned his loss into a victory.
Clay has always said that he was blessed by the fact that he didn't win American Idol.
Most people thought that Ruben Studdard was the contestant that would make a good star and that Clay Aiken was just there for entertainment purposes.
Clay actually went on to have a better career than Ruben because his fan base was so strong and loyal.
Anyone who was wondering whether the Clay Aiken phenomenon would die with the end of the American Idol season found out quickly that they were wrong.
When Clay Aiken's first album debuted, it just broke all the records. It became the #1 selling solo debut from an artist in a decade. And it made very clear that Clay Aiken wasn't just going to be a reality show wannabe. He was a real legitimate artist that was selling and making money.
People just automatically fell in love with him.
His fans call themselves Claymates.
The Claymates, they know everything about him. I mean, they know everything.
They're actually subgroups of the Claymates. They're the Clayasians, they're the Asian Clay fans, they're the Clayadians from Canada.
There was one group called the Clay Train. They would travel and go to Clayton's different concerts all over the country. There was the Clay Nation. The Clay Dogs is a group of guys that are for Clay.
I'm officially a Claymate. Because, listen to me, it's Clay's world, we just live in it.
The Claymates are deeply devoted to Aiken. Their love for him is even the subject of a book.
They will go in debt. They will max out their credit cards. Anything to be able to go and see another concert. One woman actually sold her wedding band so her daughter could go see him.
They support him no matter what.
Clayton Holmes Grissom was born on November 30th, 1978 in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Clay grew up in a small town, and I think you see that in his personality. There's a very small town element to Clay Aiken, and there's a very respectful, cordial, hi, how are you doing? Let me shake your hand type of quality to him that he got from his childhood home.
Clay's father, Vernon Grissom, was an auto parts salesman and aspiring musician. His mother, Faye, dreamed of being a country music star, but made her living as a decorating consultant at Sears.
She was a very classy lady. She was always dressed to the T, and her pocketbook and her shoes always matched.
Clay was into music at an early age. He sang along to country tunes on his mom's car radio when he was just 16 months old. The clever youngster soon learned how to work a crowd.
When Clay was 2, he would go to Sears with his mom, and while his mom worked, Clay would sort of sit on carpet samples in the store, and he'd sing to customers.
People would actually give him dollar bills. He was a hoot. He was a ham.
But back home, his father's drinking and violent temper forced Faye to move out. She left with just her son's diaper bag and the clothes on their backs.
Clay had a very difficult childhood. When he was 2 years old, his mother, Faye, divorced his father, Vernon.
Clay and his mom were taken in by her close friend, Amaryllis McGee, who treated Clay like a grandson. Until they could afford their own place, Clay and his mom slept on a mattress in the McGee's living room.
They had set up the living room for Faye and Clayton, and they had actually put the bed up against the front door and gave them their privacy by hanging some type of a curtain.
When Clay was 6, his mother remarried. Her new husband, Ray Parker, also worked at Sears. A year later, in November 1985, Faye gave birth to Clay's half-brother, Brett Parker. He also had a half-sister, Deborah, from his dad's first marriage.
Clay, for the most part, was a happy child at home, but his family didn't have a lot of money. He went to school in these baggy sweaters. He didn't have money for cool tennis shoes, and the other kids would pick on Clay, and so Clay became an outcast very quickly.
He had the bright red hair and the glasses and would be what some would call kind of dorky.
But Clay gained confidence as a singer. By age 11, he was performing with several choirs and appeared in a number of local plays during his school years.
No telling what you've been up to in Kansas City. Bet you carried on plenty.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it carrying on, but I sure did see a lot of things I never seen before.
He did theater as a child, and even at a young age was working with people like Terrence Mann.
I remember working with Clay when he was Clayton. He was a wallflower, very introverted. I could be looking around for him and say, "Clayton, where are you?" And he'd be standing right there.
But when Aiken opened his mouth, people listened.
Clay started to sing, and you could feel everybody, just production crew, just stop what they were doing and turn their heads to look at this voice. That was just angelic. It made everybody just put their pens down and sit up and look at one another and go, wow.
Being talented didn't help Clay make friends. He was frequently taunted by classmates.
When the kids played dodgeball, they would line up against a wall and they'd throw balls at him. No one really liked him in school.
He was a total mama's boy.
I was picked on relentlessly, but I learned something from that. My mom always told me to learn something from everything that happens, and I think that's something, that which does not kill us makes us stronger.
After Aiken graduated in June 1997 from Leesville Road High School, he continued to pursue his musical ambitions. Clay was lead singer of a band called Just by Chance, hosted local talent nights, and even made money as a wedding singer.
My daughter went and she heard him sing. She absolutely loved him. Clayton got paid $150 to sing in Natalie's wedding. He did a beautiful job.
He had this voice. He could sing. It was there, unadulterated.
I was actually hired to videotape one of his musical variety shows. He was a standout, and on stage he was very personable, always kind of funny. Everybody loved Clay. The audience perceived him as a star.
Still, Clay wasn't sure he could make a living as a singer, so he also explored an interest in special education while working at Brentwood Elementary School in Raleigh.
He had been substitute teaching with special needs children, so I think that largely is what inspired him to want to be a teacher. He moved to Charlotte, UNC Charlotte, to get his degree.
In February 2001, a few months after Clay started college, his 45-year-old half-sister Deborah shot and killed herself.
Clay took this very hard. He actually blamed himself because Deborah had called Clay, and Clay never returned the call, and Clay had thought that Deborah had called him because she was mad that he went back to his mother's maiden name.
According to Clay, he changed his last name from Grissom to Aiken in an attempt to sever all ties with his dad, Vernon.
Clay never really established a firm bond or connection with his biological father, and so he referred to Ray as his real dad.
It wasn't something he really talked about.
There was something that was profoundly sad about him. You really wanted to kind of grab hold of him and take care of him. He always had this sort of melancholy about him, something that was very, like, a secret, something he was trying to protect.
Then, in July 2002, Aiken's stepfather, Ray Parker, died.
And my relationship with my stepfather was kind of strained throughout my teenage years, and it took his illness for me to really see him in a more human light. And I think one of the things that made his death so difficult was just that sting of regret that I never actually formed a better relationship with him.
Aiken kept his focus on college. While majoring in special ed, Clay took a part-time job as an assistant to Michael Bubel, a 12-year-old autistic child. The boy quickly became Aiken's biggest fan.
Michael continued to say, Clay, you have to audition for American Idol. You have to audition for American Idol. And Clay didn't really think he had a chance, but he did it for this kid that he was mentoring.
In fall 2002, 23-year-old Clay drove to Charlotte for the American Idol tryouts, but he never made it past the screeners.